Truth before the truth. What is so special about poetry, poesy, and rhyming? Oh, they're different words, but essentially, basically, they're the same thing. You're learning to write without the form of a sentence. Um, that's what is so special about not writing with a sentence, because you're learning how to perceive words and write, if you're practical about it, how to write without a sentence. And if you perceive lyrics, they're not written in sentence form, and you can you just perceive the words for what they are, and you're not subjugated by the sentence and predicated and extra explanatory, analytical versus perceivable and fathomable. There's a big difference there when you want to actually engage yourself with language and gnosis, and the retrieval of it, practicing thought, practicing your own form of thinking, which is pretty much the same for all of us. Anyways, what is more special about poetry, poesy, writing without a sentence, rhyming? We'll talk about rhyming some other time, but what is so special about it is that there are certain emotions that you can activate, or let's say access, or remember when you are writing things down, and you're not trying to write a book, and you're totally open and engaged into the spirit of the moment, the inspiration, what it inevitably becomes. But when you're writing, you're pretty much almost out of your body, almost. You can stand, you can walk, but if sit and sight is the same thing. I mean, they make the words the same spelling for a reason. And these emotions are those emotions that are never actually mentally ill, as you would catch people being paranoid about, not because you're writing them down, but because they're true emotions that regenerate tissue upon activation. I mean, science is never going to observe and show us that the thoughts that you're talking about in your head, which usually, especially at your beginning years of writing, aren't really showable, presentable, shareable. It's not really relative information to other people. When you start writing, when you're activating an emotion, if you can get really into it because you do care, and it's basically who you are inside, underneath everything, you're unleashing some sort of energy inside of you. You don't need to call it chakras and all that stuff. You could just save chakras for the analytical moment of it when you're talking about it. But when it's happening, your emotions can literally regenerate your tissue, because a lot of your aging and all that stuff is only it's only fatigue. It's the harsh environment. It's this. It's that. It's a lot more than the stress. Stress is really not the problem. All those problems that you're going to learn to identify when you're writing, and learning to observe and retain information through thought or the outside world, or through others' writings. So You know, if you haven't experienced any real raw emotions that aren't expressed socially to others, that they instantly end it. They instantly end your emotion. That's what's so special about writing without a sentence. You write with sentences to write a book and share with others, but when you write poetry and you're rhyming, or you're writing lyrics, which is basically this exactly the same as rhyming. Rhyming is just focusing on rhyming words a little bit more, because it's punctual. It's punctual. Uh, you know. Anyways, you think about that. The emotions, the raw emotions that you felt at the end of a movie, that activate you for a moment. It's like, why do they keep making movies? Because those real moments at inside of the movie that are raw, real states of emotion. That's literally who all of us are underneath. And I mean, if it isn't who we are underneath, I'm pretty sure we would be in anarchy, and we would have been doing the purge of our own free will. Like every Friday night, and like TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. It's time. It's time to start hacking them to bits for their wrongdoings. But no, that's not who we are underneath. I mean, I've written for so many years now that it's like activating these raw emotions are something that I have experienced, and it leads to other things, and you just become obligated to stay who we are underneath it all, where you truly belong. You look at a picture you took on Thursday, and then 2 weeks from now you look at a picture and you keep taking selfies, or you keep looking in the mirror, and then one day you look like shit, and one day you look youthful, or one day you're 55 and you look 35 all of a sudden, and then you're back to 65. Like, what is that? What is shifting and going on there? To access the path to know where that is those raw emotions, and that raw state of who you are underneath. And that's why people start actually writing poetry, because they want to reach those moments. They want to reach those moments, not because it's mentally enlightening or something like that, because information is beneficial, and you get, what they say, thought for food for thought, and stuff like that. And but yeah, that's all you need to know. That's what it's for. And if you get to pass that along, we're just practicing, who we are underneath, and maybe we'll make it. We haven't yet, but that's kind of who we are. Although everyone is basically a piece of shit. Even if you're not a piece of shit like me, I'm pretty much the biggest piece of shit, because they're just gonna laugh at me because they're sick, or they're gonna put an APB on me because they make shit up in their head, because they don't write anything down. They just work, and they haven't accessed that they've accessed that raw emotion one time in the theater when they watch Avatar, because everyone watches the Avatar in the theater. And what's some other movie? Even girls watch some romance movie. They feel some sort of raw state and emotion, because it's probably so ideal and heavenly compared to whatever relationships they're having, that they do that. Although it's not helping that kind of situation. That's why men don't like it. If they're that piece of shit or not, it doesn't matter. We're talking about accessing those raw emotions through poetry, and rhyming. And the other side notes are relative to that. So, think about it and wonder, why isn't everyone taking a day off a week to drink their coffee, go for a long walk early in the morning, like 3:30 a.m., come back home at like 6 a.m., drink coffee or tea or whatever you got, caffeine-free herbal tea, whatever you want, like walk all day and then drink 1 or 2 solid beers instead of sitting on the couch, listen to one of those real songs that, people don't let you listen to every day, because you're not free, because you have a career and you chose it to have money and be provided for. And, open that raw state of emotion. And if it's pouring tears out, you're basically shedding so you can return to that state of who you are underneath, because who you are isn't that person. And I told people after eating healthy years ago, over about less than a decade ago, before they basically disowned me, and I told them I don't cry anymore, but I wasn't making sense then. I mean, I don't cry anymore because I don't shed tears. It doesn't mean I don't actually cry inside. Everything's crying inside. A crow will sit there and badger you all freaking day. Your dog barking isn't protecting the house. It's fucking miserable. It doesn't like you. It wants anyone else, at least, for the quick change, just like we see girls do or boys. They want some sort of, quick change. They're miserable. They're not guarding the home. These things are not what seem they are, because you're not writing it down. You're not trying to think about what's so that thing that's on top of you, maiming you, and you can't even feel that you're hurt. Well, get to it and try to, as hard as you can, just think about it. If it doesn't let you, then, find out how to release that steam. People go for runs, people exercise, there's anything you can do. I mean, you can work all day extra hard and like burn out, and then for like 3 or 4 days, and then finally you've overwhelmed yourself and you're gonna start weeping. If you're weeping and you're not writing it down or thinking, then like you're definitely busted, and you got to do something about it. And if you can't write it down, then and it's just gonna enrage you right after you got done weeping, then you're gonna have to quit your job, because everyone needs to quit their job eventually. All you rich people out there claiming you're the one up there, just start writing something down, because it leads to someone like me being the center of attention, because I know what I'm doing. I knew what I was doing when I was seeking it, although I did it on the outside. So try to activate that. Regenerate some tissue for a second. See ya. Truth before the truth.